Hey Latasha, I think I'm ready to scale my business, but I'm not sure who to hire first. Help. Oh my gosh, I get some variation of this question probably once per week at this point. It's a very hot topic and I have a lot of thoughts on it. So today, I'm finally gonna answer it. And besides just knowing who to hire, one of the other questions that I hear a lot is where do I go to hire these folks? So I'm excited to be partnering on today's video with MarketerHire, which is a platform that allows you to connect with top freelancers in the marketing space, from SEO consultants to social media managers, ad strategists, and more. So one of the things that I really loved about MarketerHire is that they are exclusive. They're more exclusive than Harvard. In fact, they have an under 4% acceptance rate, meaning that they only accept the highest quality freelance marketers out there. It's also flexible, which is something I'll talk about throughout this video. I think it's important to work with people on a flexible basis until you decide that you are ready financially and that your business really needs somebody full-time. And hiring through MarketerHire also means you'll be in great company. This flexible option allows you to work with some of the best marketers from companies like Dollar Shave Club, Netflix, and Amazon without hiring them full-time. So it's really a win-win situation. So if you want to give MarketerHire a shot and see what's out there, go ahead and visit marketerhire.com/Latasha James. Thanks again to MarketerHire for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so my long story short answer of who you should hire first is it depends. It really does depend on your strengths, your weaknesses, your likes, your dislikes, your budget, your goals with your business. But I want to break down how I made the decisions that I did. And it really starts with hiring for my weaknesses. I'm not good at everything. And there are certain things that I am really good at, so good at that people pay me for and that I consider to be my zone of genius. And anything outside of that, it's not to say I don't ever have to do some of those boring things like accounting or paying invoices, right? Those are just facts of business. But if there are things that I can offload that aren't really such a great use of my time or that I'm not really doing a fantastic job at, then those are always the first things that I choose to hire for. Now, in addition to things that aren't really in my zone of genius, I also am a big believer in tracking your time as the CEO or the owner of a company. And I don't do this every single week, I'll be honest, but I try to track at least a week out of every month to start to look for trends. And I'll start to note down the different tasks that are taking up a lot of my time. Some, it makes sense. Others, I'm like, why am I spending all my time doing this? And also the things that I'm really efficient at. If I see that I can pump out emails in like 30 minutes, then maybe that's a task that I should keep. You can use a time tracker like Toggle or the one that Honeybook offers to track this and really nail down which tasks are taking you the most time and which you're most efficient at. After you do that for a while and start to see some trends there, then compare that with a simple list. You can just put this on notebook paper or on a whiteboard or wherever you want to write it down. Just list out the things that you really like doing, the things that you really don't like doing, and if there are any goals or any projects that you would like to start or things that you would like to begin doing, but you just don't have the bandwidth to do. So for me, some examples of my list would be, I love doing the podcast, right? I love being on camera. Some days I don't, but in most days, I really love doing that. I love interacting with my students. So I love live teaching classes and being involved in the forums and the grading process and all of that kind of stuff. I love being hands-on with folks. I don't love accounting. And I'm not good at it either. I don't love writing emails. I don't love doing a lot of other copywriting stuff. Even though I am good at it and I do like copywriting, it just takes me a lot of time. And things that maybe I wish I had time for would be better video edits, more videos, different formats of videos. When I compare that to my time tracker, I will also see that prior to hiring a video editor, and even still today sometimes, I spend a lot of my job, a lot of my week editing videos. And I love editing videos and I think I'm halfway good at it, but that's not necessarily the best use of my time. Anybody who knows how to edit videos could be doing that. It doesn't require my specific expertise or my specific voice in that, especially because it's semi-templatized at this point for the podcast. And there are other things that are, more strategic that I really need to be dedicating more time on, either teaching more classes, training more of my team, doing more of the high-level CEO stuff when it comes to money, paying invoices, scheduling meetings with people, things like that. Now, something else I want to mention in today's video is that I always recommend hiring on a project basis first if you can. Now, of course, there are maybe some roles that do require a full-time hire from day one, but for an online business like mine, you can hire flexible workers. You can hire freelancers for most of the positions you're thinking about. And this is great because it's a more cost-efficient way for you to hire without committing to a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 salary when you're barely making anything yet. And it also allows you to kind of test the waters and for the freelancer to test the waters. Working together should be mutually beneficial. And I don't just mean that the freelancer gets paid. They should also enjoy the work. They should also, get along with you and like your leadership style. So working on a project basis first is a good way to test that out. Now, there are also some projects that you may only need to hire for one and done, one time, like building a website, like getting quality brand photos, like installing tracking onto your website, like maybe just writing a social media strategy for you if you plan to manage your own social or someone else on your team does. So keep that in mind, where you're starting matters too, because if you have none of those things, if you don't have a website, if you don't have tracking, if you don't have brand photos, then that's probably the first thing you need to hire for. But if you're at the point where you're pretty burnt out in your business consistently, like every week, it's just not working, you're just not able to get the work done for your clients, or you're just feeling burnt out, or you're not able to do some of those next level things that you want to do. Like maybe you want to create a course, maybe you want to launch a new product or start a blog or whatever that might be. You don't have time for that. Then maybe it is time for a long-term hire. So I'll tell you my story and kind of my hiring journey, and maybe it'll spark something in you, or at least give you an idea of some of the roles that you could hire for when you are still in the early stages of your business. So the first hire that I ever made was quite a few years ago at this point. I had probably been freelancing full-time for like 6 months to a year at that point, and my emails were just a nightmare. They were a nightmare. I'm still pretty bad about replying to emails. I'm sorry. It's just they get lost. I see them, I reply in my head, and then, they disappear. So I knew that I was leaving money on the table because there were people who were reaching out who wanted to work with me. And, it also was just a bad look for my agency if we just didn't respond to people. So I hired an administrative assistant. She probably worked like 5 hours a week. She would just get on every day and clear up my inbox once a day, alert me if I needed to reply to anything personally, and it seemed to go pretty well. So I would say in general, that's a pretty good first hire, is somebody who can just like check your emails and sort of be the front office for you. The next role that I hired for was a community manager. I hired, again, a part-time freelance community manager for my membership group, the Freelance Friday Club, because a membership group or any type of community really does require a lot of nurturing. You need to get in there every day, be approving members, be, fixing billing issues if somebody has a question or their card expired, and, little things like that really add up. 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there ends up being a lot of time. So I hired a part-time community manager. She didn't have like an hourly cap or anything, but I would probably say she was spending like 10 hours a week on that project. Eventually, we expanded her role. This is Megan, for those of you who are in any of my courses or who've been watching the channel for a while. Megan helps out with all things operational. So we really blew that role out to include the courses and lots of other things like that. And I did hire her on a long-term contract basis. So that was a big hire for me, and it's really proven to be worth it because she really helps with every aspect of the business, and she is amazing. Next, I hired a video editor, like I said, that was taking up a lot of my time, and I knew that I could make more videos and better quality videos if I had a video editor. That is just a project basis. So whenever I have a video, I see if she's available, and we get that done. It's usually a weekly video, usually the podcast. I also hired a partnerships manager. Again, I was leaving a lot of money on the table because I just wasn't responding to these emails asking to create branded videos. And this has been a revenue stream that we've really been able to pull the lever on, which enables me to bring better quality videos to you all by having a little bit of brand support. He works on more of a commission basis. So he gets paid based on the amount that I get paid. So he takes a certain percentage. That's pretty typical for managers. And it also helps incentivize him to keep me working, which is great. And then the newest hire that I've recently made is a copywriter. So I'm working with a copywriter for different video scripts and different, emails and blog posts and things like that. Again, on a project basis, just whenever I need some additional support, because that is an area that just takes a lot of time for me and isn't really my bread and butter or my sweet spot. So I hope this got you thinking, gave you some ideas of what some of your first hires may be. If this was helpful, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And also I want to take another second to thank MarketerHire for sponsoring today's video. You can go to MarketerHire.com/LatashaJames to get started. And let me know in the comments what you plan to hire for. Are there any roles that you really hope to add to your team in the new year? Or let me know if you've already hired someone who your first hire was. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.